and I thought I'd try to be helpful and share some advanced Zoom tips for dance teachers, for instructors who are trying to move their classes to online now that we're in this situation of social distancing and no in-person contact. So you know, my day job actually involves using Zoom on a daily basis, multiple times a day. I work a lot with video and web conferencing. I work a lot with classroom recording. And so there are some settings I think that folks that are just getting started, they wouldn't really know about, or they might not be aware of the implications of turning a feature on or off. So this video is not really intended for basic setup. It's meant for people who are already in Zoom and are trying it out. Maybe last week they were teaching and now they want to see if they can make things a bit better this coming week. So having said that, I went and created one of the free accounts on Zoom. I'm trying to emulate what folks out there are doing now that Zoom has become kind of the de facto standard for online sharing right now. So in the free version of Zoom, I would go into settings and just taking a look at meeting settings. You know, there are a ton of things here that you could sort of change. I would like to point out the fact that it says here that Zoom might be taking away the phone-in feature, but I would like to say to folks, try to preserve telephone and computer audio in your meetings. These online experiences, if people can't hear you, if they can't understand you, then it doesn't really matter what they're looking at. And giving them multiple ways of joining your meeting for the audio portion, I think, is a good thing. So in a situation where they have bad internet or low bandwidth, their computer audio might not be very clear, but they could probably call in and listen to the audio via phone. And so by having telephone and computer audio as an option, I think that's a great thing to keep. Notice that there's join before host that's turned off by default. I'm a fan of join before host when it's teachers who are using Zoom for their regular students, for students that they know and they trust. It's the same people that have been coming every Tuesdays and Thursdays this semester or for a period of time, for example. So join before host sets up the opportunity for people to join the meeting before the host arrives, and they have kind of that pre-class chit-chat, kind of like when people would show up to a studio when they're just warming up and they're talking to each other about their day. The teacher hasn't yet arrived. That's kind of a neat interaction, and you could emulate that by turning on join before host. The one reason you would not turn on join before host is if you are posting your meeting links publicly and that people that you don't know and trust, they might find your links. What would happen if join before host was turned on and the link was public, completely public, then people could use your meeting number for their own meetings without you knowing, since they can enter the meeting before you even arrive. So that's sort of something to sort of point out, again, to try and create an environment just like what we had before where people were interacting in person. Join before host is a great thing. If you're posting links publicly on community boards and the like, this would be not a good thing to turn on. So I just wanted to point that out. Another thing you'll see that's on by default is requiring a password when scheduling new meetings. Now, if you don't mind managing passwords, then you might as well leave this on. But again, that whole classroom setting, people just sort of entering your meetings as they need to in join before host, I don't think there's a real need to have a password unless, again, you're posting these in a completely public place where people might be entering your meeting who you don't know. So if you want to restrict entrance, this is a good thing to keep on. So that's just sort of something, a couple of tips about those two settings. We're going to go all the way down now, and I want to turn on Breakout Rooms. That's off by default, and Breakout Rooms in a dance classroom setting is actually a great tool for instructors to use. You notice I'm also turning on Allow Hosts to assign participants to Breakout Rooms when scheduling. So I'm going to save that. So I've clicked that and I've clicked this. And what does this mean? If I'm a dance instructor and I show phrases to the students to sort of learn, and they watch me and I'm giving them counts and that kind of thing. If I now want them to do some small group work on their own, maybe I'm saying to them, improv something based off of an idea or based off of a piece of music, and then come back and show me your work. It's Breakout Rooms that allows that to happen. What this means is if you turn on Breakout Rooms and you've got 15 people in your class, you could engage that feature in the Zoom meeting, and Zoom will ask you, do you want to turn on, create 3 rooms of 5 people or 5 rooms of 3 people, or however you want to do it, and just hit go, and Zoom will randomly put people into rooms together. And then They will have video, they will have voice, they have the ability to share content, just like any Zoom meeting, except it's a mini Zoom meeting. It's a mini Zoom session within the main session. And so they could do small group work for 15-20 minutes, and then when you close all the breakout rooms, it puts everyone back in the main session, and then you could ask them to demonstrate, to report back what was the work you did. So I'm a big fan of breakout rooms because it's a good way of sort of mixing things up and allowing people to interact. Again, it emulates that environment that you had when you were still doing things in person. This checkbox, allow hosts to assign participants. The neat thing is, if you know who you attendees are going to be and you have their emails, you could create breakout rooms before you even start your meeting and put the people's emails into the rooms so that when they join the meeting and then you decide to start your breakouts, you could put specific people together. So if you want to sort of have all the students of a particular skill set or a particular dance level in 1 or 2 or 3 groups, and then a different skill set or different dance level in other groups, you can certainly do that. And so that's done at the scheduling level, and you could, by checking this box, that allows that. So again, I'm a big fan of breakout rooms. That's about it for this setting. I do want to sort of scroll back to the top, go to recording, and just make sure that you have local recording turned on. The free Zooms don't allow cloud recording, which is where you record to a server elsewhere, and then all you have to do is share the link to people. In this case, you're recording to your computer. And what that means is this. You start your meeting, you're teaching, you start your recording. When you end your recording, it doesn't process the recording. Your computer doesn't start processing the recording until you end the meeting. So once you end the meeting, leave your computer open. And that allows your computer to continue to process the video, and then once the process is done, it's going to ask you where do you want to save it, and just make sure you know where it's saved, and then you could retrieve it afterwards. Don't shut your computer down when you end the meeting, because you'll lose your recording. That's really the main reason why I'm at this point. The other reason I'm at this particular setting is hosts can give participants permission to record locally. Now, it's on by default here, meaning that your participants can record if they want to. And I do point it out because I don't know for instructors if they want participants to be doing their own recordings of your material. So that's something that you should consider, whether you should uncheck that box. Okay, so having said that, let's go into a meeting. So I'm going to just start a meeting with video on, and you're going to actually get to see me now because you're seeing me. I'm capturing my screen. I'm not using Zoom to record, but I am capturing my screen here. So I'm joining with computer. I'm going to make this large so it's easy to see. Click that. I'm going to unmute. And so the first thing I did there was I unmuted, and I could see that I have audio level. So my first tip to you when you're in meeting is do a mic check. So do you hear a ringtone? I'm going to say yes. You could see, you could choose different devices if you're not choosing the right one. So I'm going to say yes to that. Mic check, mic check, mic check. So I'm going to say yes to that. Mic check, mic check, mic check. So you can see that my mic is working. I've got the correct mic device chosen. Hit yes and then finish. So basically, there's my mic. I unmuted myself. I hit the caret next to it. I went up to test speaker and microphone, and I performed mic check. I performed the test. So that's a great tip for people. It helps you get set up right away. I'm going to turn on my camera now, and there I am. I'm using virtual background on this, so there's PV Plaza. Okay, so another thing I wanted to point out is, again, the caret next to the microphone. I'm going to go into audio settings, because this is something that some people don't know about. Normally this is already checked. Automatically adjust volume. You'll find this under audio, microphone, and then this is checked. Automatically adjust volume. I would turn that off if I was an instructor and I'm playing music from another device, like I have an iPod or a speaker or a boombox playing music, and that's the way I play my music. I would turn off this feature. If I were a musician playing live for an instructor, and I'm in one location as a musician and the instructor is in another location, I would turn this off if I was that musician. So I would uncheck the box and I would put my volume to about 3/4. You could sort of finesse the volume of your microphone depending on proximity, how close or how far from your microphone you're going to be. But the reason for this is Zoom is really intended to be virtual meetings. It really wasn't meant for music and performance type things. So it will prioritize audio in that voice range. But anything that sounds like background sound, like music, for example, Zoom's AI will actually try to dampen that. So if I were a musician playing the piano and I just start playing, the Zoom is going to try and dampen me, so it'll be low. My participants will not hear my audio very well. And then after a little bit, a few seconds maybe, or a few measures, Zoom will realize, oh, this is actually the primary audio. So it'll raise my volume, and now my music will sound fine again. But as soon as I start talking, bam, it will prioritize my voice, and it will try to dampen the background sound. So that's the processing that's occurring. If I were an instructor playing music from another device, it's the same relationship. I'm talking, I'm giving instruction, and then I play my music, and all of a sudden my music just drops, and attendees don't get to hear it because Zoom thinks it needs to dampen the background sound in order to prioritize my voice. So by unchecking this box, we're turning off that processing. There's still some processing going on, but it's less. So that's kind of something I'd like to point out to folks. Okay, another thing I'd like to point out to folks, and this is particularly for instructors who are playing their own music, if you can play your music from your laptop instead, I have a trick here that's going to let you get better audio to your participants. You're going to go to Share, and instead of sharing your screen, you're going to go to Advanced, and you're going to click Computer Sound Only. And by clicking Computer Sound Only, and you hit Share, you'll notice you're not seeing my desktop. But if I went to my desktop and played a YouTube video or played something from Spotify or Pandora through a web browser, the audio from that is going to play directly to Zoom. It's not going to come out it will still come out my speaker because I will hear it, but the audio is not going to come from the speaker into my onboard microphone or into my webcam microphone. Instead, it's going to be shared directly to Zoom, and so the audio will sound crisper and cleaner. So if I had a recommendation to make for instructors that are using their own music, play the music from your computer and go into Share and share Computer Sound Only. And that will give your participants a better experience with the music that you're playing. Here, and I'm going to switch gears and start talking about video. So I'm actually going to try to join this meeting from my phone so that you can get a sense of what this would look like with other people in it. So let's go. Okay. So there are 4 devices now here in this meeting. So notice how we are immediately in gallery view. That's actually a great thing. So as soon as I'm in and other people are joining, we could see each other, we can talk to each other. Your students, ideally they would choose gallery view. So if they moused up here, they would toggle between speaker, which is big image, so whoever's last talking becomes a big image, versus gallery view where everyone is seen equally. You can have up to 49 people in gallery view, but I like to try to limit it, and then just as more people join, you have little arrows on the sides here so you could scroll back and forth through them. But that's not the point of this demonstration. What I'm actually hoping to show is this. You are a dance instructor and you are playing your own music, so that's the use case, and you want to showcase some choreography, okay? So it's more important that the students see your image large. It doesn't matter that they see each other when you're trying to teach them movement. So I would find my video pod, go to the triple dots, click that, and then I would click Spotlight Video. And what that means is my video, the video of you, the instructor, becomes the dominant view for everybody. Everybody is just looking at your screen. That way, anybody else who starts talking, they don't start popping up in the shot. It's only your screen. And so for the next, I don't know, 10 minutes that you're showing choreography, only you will be seen. And then when it's time to, when you need to go back to gallery view and go back into discussion and some kind of interaction, click the triple dots over the small version of you and cancel that spotlight. Okay? And then you can go back to gallery view. Alright? Did that make sense? So again, if you want to showcase your video only so that students can see your movement, go to triple dots in your video pod and you would click Spotlight Video. Now notice there's something here called pin video. Pin video is the same concept except each student would have to do that themselves. So if you as an instructor wanted to see a specific student only for a part of time, you could pin that video of that student, and your view will show only that student as large no matter who is talking if you need to pay attention to that student, and then you would just cancel that pin. So it's kind of like you can pretend you're in class and then you are standing you move from the front of the class to right next to a student because you want to specifically pay attention to that student. Pin video allows you to do that. Spotlight video, on the other hand, is you standing at the front of the class and telling everyone, look at me. Just look at me and pay attention to what I'm doing. Don't pay attention to what anyone else is doing. So that's the two there that I'm a big fan of using. And then the other thing that I sort of want to point out in video mode is this. Let's go to Breakout Rooms just so that you could see that. I click Breakout and notice it's now asking me. I've got 4 participants. 3 of them are able to join breakouts. I'm the host, so I don't join a breakout. I could make 2 breakout rooms, 3. I could put 1 per room. Let's pretend I make 2 right now. I could make 2. I could do it automatically, and the Zoom AI just does the math for me. If I could do it manually, I want to show you that. So I do it manually. I create rooms. I can now click Assign, and I could put these 2 students in that room. Click Assign on this breakout room and put that student there. All right. And if you look at options, here are other options. Move all participants into breakout rooms automatically. That's the other thing. I would click that. Because if you don't click that, students can click join. They could choose whether or not they join a breakout room. Okay? And I think when you, the instructor, are putting everyone in breakout rooms, the whole goal is to just put everyone in a room as quickly as possible. Don't let them dilly-dally. And just get the work done and then bring them back. So check this box so that people go into breakout rooms. The students go into the breakout rooms. They do the work. Allow participants to return to the main session at any time. Leave that checked, and that would be if students feel like they're done in the breakout room and they want to leave and come back to the main session. That's totally fine. You could also set time limits on your breakout rooms, and then you would have a countdown and set a timer. So once you close a breakout room, you could say to everybody, you have 60 seconds to get your stuff together and leave the room, come back to the main room. So those are all good. The only change I made here was move all participants into breakout rooms automatically. So now that I've done that, I'm going to open all the rooms. And you don't get to see this, I guess, because these are on all the devices, but you'll notice how everyone has left. So I'm the only one now left in the main room, and if I go to the breakouts on my devices, everyone is in a breakout room. And so the neat thing is, as the teacher, as the host, I can jump into the breakout rooms and connect with the students there. I could click join breakout room 2. I'm going to say yes. Now the Zoom is taking me into there, and here I am. I'm inside breakout room 2 with this student, and I could say, so how's it going? Are you guys getting the work done? Do you have any questions? This is another way of allowing, emulating that kind of in-person experience when teachers sort of roam the studio to check in with their students. When I'm done here as a teacher, I click Leave Breakout Room, and I return to the main session. Okay, so now I'm back in the main session. Now here's something I sort of want to point out. Students have the ability to ask for assistance from the breakout room. So if I was a student in one room and we're having trouble, I would click a button called Ask for Help, and then click Invite Host button. And now, as a teacher, you're getting this interaction here. Join breakout room. This student in that room is asking for help. Okay, so now I'm going to go in, and we could have the interaction that they need. Okay, and this is actually a pretty good thing. And then we resolve the issue or answer the question, and then we hit return to main session. Now, at this point then, I'm back in the main session, and let me make this big again. And so now I need to close all the rooms. So I click my breakout room, and I could say 5 minutes left. And I broadcast that out, and that text chat goes out to everyone in the rooms. And so this is their warning that they are about to be brought back into the main room. And at whatever point I decide I need to, I close the rooms. Breakout rooms close in 60 seconds. That allows students to sort of get a sip of water or whatever it is they need to do before joining the main session. And they could jump in right away if they simply say leave now. So I'm going to click leave now on all of my fake students. So now they're all starting to come back into the main session. And there you have it. So that is one way of managing, well, that's actually the way of managing small group work for dance classes using the Zoom's breakout rooms. Now, something I sort of want to point out for dance instructors that are recording the sessions, because you're doing local recording, what happens is it defaults to speaker view as the main view. So if it's important to you that you record your movement, like you're teaching a class and then you're giving some instruction and you want your movement recorded specifically no matter who else is talking, then for sure you're going to want to spotlight yourself and then record, because that way you're guaranteed that what you are doing is being captured. Here's where that gets tricky. You are teaching, and then let's say you have a live musician playing for your class from another location. If you didn't have Spotlight turned on, as soon as that musician starts playing, the camera goes to that musician, potentially. If you stayed in gallery view, then you've got all these different views and it's hard for people to focus on you. So the idea is you spotlight yourself, and even if someone else is talking, even if the musician is playing, your video will be the dominant video for the meeting. And then when you're recording that particular part of class, your video will be in the recording as the dominant video. So that's the relationship between what people are seeing in the meeting and the record feature that's built into this particular version of Zoom. I am going to unspotlight myself now and go back to gallery view, and that should do it. So that's really all I had. I hope folks find that useful. Reach out to me. I'm available. Send me a message. I'm available to help out. I think in this time, I'm very excited about the fact that online technology is helping out. But at the same time, I do understand the worry that we're losing some of the in-person experiences, and so I just wanted to sort of help align the in-person with the online experience, because I do think that's possible. Okay, take care, and good luck this week with all your teaching.